Amity, and here we go. G2 versus M80 here on Villa. We talked about how this was stacking up in favor of G2. Well, Villa is the second most banned map in the pool for M80. Only beaten out slightly by Border, and Dokkaebi will be the first operator banned away from G2.
Yeah, and they'll be wishing that they could get that Amity will be wishing they could get rid of Doki, the player on Villa, instead of Dokkaebi, the operator, with how good of an impact they can have. Little bit of Doki chat as well, which is something we love to see. But obviously, you get rid of the nades, you get rid of that global ability that Dokkaebi brings to the table as well. Now, when we get to defensive bans, this is the problem. There are so many really good defensive operators now that can completely change the way the game is played. Valkyrie is the first one that's going to be removed. Well, but speaking about that second one, you can get rid of Azami, you can get rid of Mira, and there's even a few more now with recent 1.5 editions that could easily be taken out as well.
I don't think we'll see a Thorn ban. Maybe against Kag later today, that might be a threat, but Solace is removed, and again, we're seeing two of those high-impact defense operators pulled away from availability. That does leave Azami and Fenrir available for both these sides. G2 starting on the defense. Historically on Villa, that has been the favored side. And I believe as well, G2 have a 69% defensive win rate on this map. M80 only 50-50 on their attack. So statistically speaking, we're looking at a G2 favoring side on a G2 favoring map. M80, let's see what you can do on this one as we crack into our very first prep phase. Gibby, I'm starting to get excited. Gamers8's finally underway.
We are here. As I said, it's been a long time since we've had Tier 1 Siege on our screens, and we are getting straight underway with the World Champions. AVG is the site for Game 1, but now the addition of Fenrir being played by Alamo is a really fun one to use, because of course you can throw out 5 of those FNATs, those dread mines, to give fear into the hearts of the enemies, and you're looking at points of entry. You know, you look at that default plant behind Vault Door, that's a great place to put one. If you want to play inside of Study, you can easily put it on that Study Balk door as well. For Alamo to get full impact out of Fenrir, he has got to stay alive deep into the round, though, so that he can keep those active and change the ones that he needs to for as long as possible.
We're seeing Spoit on the Amaru, and which likely won't indicate a very fast rush. It's going to be to get map control early or an early rotation. He's repelled up just to try and get that full clear roaming. I do see Iconic on the Capitao, an operator that I implore everybody watching Gamers8 this week, keep an eye on the pick rate of Capitao for these teams. If Ying's banned, Capitao will likely be in play to help gain that key control within those executions. G2 with a pretty expansive roam brought out here, and Alamo posted up on red stairs, has those FNAT mines dreading or spanning across the entire top 4 to give him that area of judgment. But I believe G2 have opted to go more down below, and of course, who else would it be down below but Benja?
Yeah, and you look at the way the G2 set up. They kept Doki playing over by Statue, looking for drones, fell back after about 30 seconds, and now they draw the line around 90 and red stairs. Benja's going to prevent any push coming from below, as you pointed out, and then above on the stairs, you've got Alamo to lock it down if anyone puts pressure on 90 window. But what I like is Benja and Alamo can play off of each other's contact as well. It's a really good way for them to play. But the thing is, you look at M80, they're already halfway through the round. They've droned out all of Master Bedroom side, and Spoit is pushing over. And he might even, after this fight with Benja, which he's going to win, Spoit gets the first 1v1. Now he can focus on getting inside the map. Big entry pick.
He might be able to go up that hatch as well inside 90 and get that control fast, but Benja now off the board means a C4 is no longer available for that post-plant denial down below. Alamo will look to try and trade one back, but here's Kino jumping out of Master Bedroom window, and he's going to be a little bit late to the party of that one. Well, Alamo consider maybe just full clearing this, making sure that side of the map is completely uncontested as M80 begin to put the pressure on, but still a slower round. Azami's now be able to reallocate Kiba barriers towards Study, as Doki's going to be reading into that pressure, has a hatch drop available too. But Gomez just charges on in, finds one Iconic to Gemini. Virtue will get one trader back and Spoits off the board, but a 2 versus 4. 45 seconds and M80 have time to calm the nerve, and C4 below misses. G2 need to find something and find it fast with that Dread Mine and give Virtue away. In it through the smoke, he finds Iconic. Alamo finds one more, the advantage M80's gone.
Wow. Good hold. Alamo gets back on the side as well, and all of a sudden, we're going to get into that last 20 seconds. Diaz holding the crosses. The case is going to go down, but the Kiba barrier is helping. Alamo gets the kill, making it a 2v1, and now he can hold that one-way angle where Diaz is going to have to push. He's got one nade in the back pocket as well. Do not forget that utility. Don't swing, Diaz. You've got the nade in the back pocket. He's going to try to use his gun. He's forced back, gets himself his first kill, tries to get the knife, but he's going to get shot down. And Alamo will defuse the case as G2 take round 1. But whip it, he had a nade.
If he pulls the pin on that nade, that's over, Gibby. The moment that nade sound is played, someone's swinging him. They know his gun's away. He's got a little nade in his hands. He can't shoot back. So a wise choice, even though it might have felt almost daring enough to throw that nade, he couldn't. It would have been too close. But a very narrow margin. Drops prone, finds one. Alamo needing to bring out the bailiff to get the job done, and finds it. G2 win AVG, get their very first defensive victory. However, for M80, the real problem that round is they were 4-2 up in terms of player count, and very, very quickly, G2 found untraded and untraded picks to get themselves level again.
Well, you and I had a conversation. Virtue did a great job, and we were saying that at SI, that was some of the best play that we had seen from Virtue on this G2 roster. And he did such a good job of slowing down that M80 push, getting a couple of kills. And then from that point, Alamo got back to side, got his one. A little bit too late to prevent the plant, but they stayed calm. But let's not forget, he was within it. He got a shave from that knife that was swung through the corner. He got shaved, but didn't get taken down.
For anyone who was watching the mainstream perhaps before we went live, you would have seen that there was a
jump back in to the round number 2 of it, and I think we'll see a lot of that style of play from Fenrir over the course of today. And as I said, we spoke about how fluid and liquid G2 are with their operator picks. This time it's Doki that's bringing the operator.
Yeah, oh, it feels good. It feels like this is a bit of a restart to the match, you know? We had a bit of a long pause, and now we're cracking. Well, let's say it's a restart, you know? It's a post-red flag restart of this matchup. So let's go real round number 1. And I will draw your attention to the addition of Benja on the Thorn. Latest patch in play, of course, so that means the 1.5 has been added to that primary weapon. High damage, low fire at SMG. The 1.5 could be a nightmare, especially when it's in hands of the answer Benja.
5 seconds to go.
The scary thing is, Ubisoft heard that we were working this event. The 2 Irish casters on the talent team were like, you know what? Let's buff Thorn. Let's give the Irish casters something to look forward to see. It is, though, going to be Kitchen, as we spoke about in the early phases of this defense, and you look at the way the G2 have spread out. Benja all the way up inside of Study with that 1.5 can play a little bit further away, but a great counter to the roaming game on Villa is Gomez playing with Jacko. He can be able to get in, scan the footsteps, and work out where those roamers are in position, while the rest of M80 focus on getting a little bit of control on the top floor. Diaz will hold the window to prevent any rotates from Tetris into Kitchen, and that will also prevent, at least in some part, players with C4s being able to get underneath.
The wall inside of stock's going to get opened up, and that means the window player can hold this across a pantry. This entire wall, actually, no. It's not reachable, but the angle still gets held by Kino, meaning basically all of Kitchen is now untenable. You can't really play this with comfort. The mirror image of Gomez's Jackal pick, we see Virtue on the pulse, a very common addition to teams down below in Kitchen. What this does is acts as a conduit of information, as we see Virtue use that information to find the opening pick on the Kino. Habana off the boards. An early fight and study, but the retreat called Gomez wants none of that. And we'll try and regroup with the rest of the team. But to elaborate, Virtue can signal to his team exactly what that push is and has all the information as Doki finds one more on the Gomez. That Jackal's gone, and an early advantage sits with G2. M80, all the work to do now.
Frees Doki up to be completely focused on top floor now as well, and everyone else. Iconic is able to find one back onto Virtue, so no longer will Pulse be able to feed that information to the rest of the team. Minute and 10 seconds left on the round now. Spout with the diffuser in hand, playing as Ash, getting into that gunfight, and he's going to get shut down as Benja gets revenge from round one. 1-on-1, the two friends are. Diaz steps his way in the laundry. Another fight that could be pretty important about to kick off. Gemini on his debut. Oh, great shot from Gemini. Benja gets another one, and G2 take a 2-0 lead.
Like clockwork, Benja finds one pick upstairs, and the instant swing from Gemini means the round wraps up in a nice little bow. G2 lead by 2. Amity, I'm gonna say it, didn't get into that round at all. That's 2 rounds in a row where I feel like the beginning stage, that opening, they're a bit slow, a bit lethargic. They're struggling to get into that pace and find their stride. And G2, it doesn't look like there's any calibration needed for Gemini. They're clipped, they are already moving like a cohesive unit. And would you look at the site brought out for number 3? Living room on villa. No castle brought out by G2. The rare occasion we see this site dabbled in, you tend to see a castle to help shore up this very expansive roam that G2 will elaborate with. But I'm very intrigued. A grin has crept across my face for this one. How do M80 answer this?
I think we've only covered this site 2 or 3 times as a dual whip, if even. We very rarely see it here. And looking at the early stages, a lot of reinforcements being used on the top floor. So G2 are going to defend this site from above. Again, you can see the FNAF placements from Doki. He's going to lock down that whole section of the map by red. Alma went for a little bit of a roam in the early stages, jumping out the window, but nobody is going to taste his lead this time around. But again, M80, what are they planning on doing? Well, straight off the bat, they're sending Spoit on the balcony, and you expect that the drones will come in from Iconic now as well. But Blitz being used could be either a genius move from M80, or it could be completely terrible, depending on what way Iconic is able to impact the round.
If Virtue has enough, oh, the FNAT's not going to have an effect. Actually, Iconic's blinded, and that's going to be the benefit of having a Fenrir. Gemini finds 1, can't make it 2, but the impact of that Blitz is gone. Spoit finds that trade, and now alone, he's going to get swarmed, but Virtue will meet the wrath of Spoit. The Nordic Gunner finds 1 second in the round. 2 minutes remain, but an aggressive push by Amity has been rewarded with an early man advantage, but only to be crushed by Alamau, who pops up red stairs and claims Gomez.
That's a big pick right there. Brings us back to a 3 versus 3 with 1 minute and 50 seconds left to go. Benja, Doki, and Alma have got Kino, Diaz, and Spoit still to deal with, but M80 still moving very, very slowly. They attempted to up the tempo in the early stages of that round, but having lost the blitz, it forces them to slow down once more. Spoit has not moved an inch since that engagement with Gemini. Now he's finally going to get on the move again, but the thing is, you have 1 minute and 20 seconds. Yes, you've now established vertical control, but look at the positioning of the G2 players. Alamau's not going to be moved with the vert. He's playing in a pretty good position. Doki's still holding red stairs, and Spoit needs to be careful because Doki could swing, and he does, but he dips back into cover.
I'm going to give an analog for this site. Imagine you're playing Cafe Kitchen. We'll see that later on in this matchup. But you're just going to play very similar to that horizontal away from sight. The verticality will clear the power positions, but that's okay. You have so many angles to fight that from safety. A drop inside of bathroom, and Alamo has to contest with that. Information relayed that he's going to have that dance around the chassis as the smoke goes up to buy some cover, and Diaz finds Benja with an instantaneous trade. Alamo will get 1, but he's going to be left alone as Doki falls. Single member of G2 still standing. Brazilian, who left his region for glory in Europe, needs to find some success to get G2 a flawless rotation. Diaz will drop in the main lobby to help group up with his teammate. Kino might be forced to stick this, but look at these yellow pings. Alama has all the information, knows every single position. He swings wide, can't find 1, takes a little bit of damage, and now he has to play it carefully. No nitro cell, no mind games, debate. Peeks and nearly finds ahead, and that nade will buy him space.
But still, no plant. There's the swing, though. Kino with the super shot. He shuts him down. And a bit of Brazil on Brazil action to finish the round. But again, it's a scenario, right, where for Alamau, you don't want to be in a 1 versus 2 with the Roni. Not in that scenario where the 2 attackers are playing back-to-back. And now we've got what we like to call a twister timeout whip. But 3 rounds down, and M80 are already taking this timeout on the back of a successful round because they've seen something that they can maybe change in the final phases of their attack inside.
That's what I like from teams. So we have a bit of a tradition when we're on a cast together. Not only do we call them Twister timeouts, because our good friend Twister, the coach of Secret, likes to call them early, also from the BR region. He's going to be able to correct mistakes early. They've seen perhaps there's a lack of cohesion, lack of coordination, whatever they're calling's not working, so they can amend that now. And the best thing about that is you give yourself time to implement corrections and stop any advantage G2 might gain. Body language, they look comfortable, they look, there's no pressure setting in. Spoit looks icy cold as always. But G2, confidence oozes from them. That roster's Fabian gets a few words in as well. And they can make some changes to get this locked in. These players already, I love seeing them. I love watching players, their faces, their body language, how they move, how they conduct themselves in these situations can tell a story in its own. Baby G, we go up there again. And G2's operator lineup always in flux, always changing. This time, a mirror brought out by Alamau.
And again, you look at the site that we're going to play, you expect that maybe one of those windows will look in towards study, and then it's really up to the defense the G2 play. Are you going to put the other mirror window over on the other side of the map by master bedroom to slow down the attack as they try to move across from north to south? Or do you elect to double down with the mirror windows? I think Alamau is going to go over, set it up on the wall that Virtue just reinforced, as our observer is going to do beautifully for us. And that sets them up nicely to hold back the push from north to south.
The drone inside of Closet would have heard Doki break this window, so I like the ambition. I like it. He's cooking, but he's going to get read like a book. Spoit shuts it down. We mentioned Doki was on wildcard in that King of the North battle of stat lines between Benja and himself. That's time first to fall. And Azami as well. Kiba barriers generate over time and can be such a vital resource to reshape a defense's lineup. G2 might be kind of hurting from that one as this round plays out.
Well, you've lost Doki. You've lost one of the most talented players that you have on the roster, but you've still got Alamau and Benja extending over to this side of the map. So Spoit and Kino will work together to try clear Benja from this position and work their way across, but that frees up the other three members to start putting pressure on Study. Diaz is going to get the kill onto Gemini. I think that was over by 90. That's where we saw Gemini playing last, and now that really opens up a world of opportunities for M80. 5 versus 3. They were in this position before on this exact same site. They got the case down, but then everything went wrong. Can they execute and make this a 2-2?
Gomez in a critical position, but Diaz's nade will find Alamau. G2 reduced to 2 sole survivors. A tag team matchup between Virtue and Benja against the world. Virtue has his glasses ready. Benja can't even make a flank down below Gomez. I highlighted was going to be important, and he finds and shuts down the dangerous sensation, but Virtue finds one iconic, but can't make it two. Spoit calms it down and gets around for M80. This was why the timeout was called. Yes, Doki gifted him a freebie with that poorly executed spawn peek, but now M80 are a little bit quicker, a little bit more cohesive. They're playing for each other, not themselves, and they've got themselves level. G2's opening 2 rounds look like clear domination. Those lines are blurring a little bit, and I think we have a matchup on our hands again.
It's something that we needed. I think we need M80 to make a real good matchup of this, because again, a lot of people have G2 as the favorites coming in, and the best way to build momentum in a best of 3 is to take map 1. Win your map and then see what happens as the rest of the maps progress. So we're going back to the site once more. Again, G2 bringing a very similar setup that they brought last time. Again, you know, we can't talk too much about Fenrir, because even though they had the right idea with Fenrir the first time they played this round, they did get picked apart elsewhere around the map, and that was a problem. So they doubled down on the mirror, but this time, but I don't expect to see Doki jumping out that window and surrendering his life. I think this time he's going to play as passive as Doki can, because Doki still doesn't play passive, but he's going to make sure that he's got a better opportunity to impact this round.
A wise choice, a wise... I think that was more of a case of Doki was feeling it a little bit, going, you know what, I want to take the fight to M80, and I want to show them that I'm the king of the north. As these casters rambled about in the pre-show. But he has those keeper barriers, so he'll be in effect later on this round, and he can reshuffle and structure this. Split straight away to a Astro window. Opens it up to put some faux pressure and begin to make them feel a little bit more compacted. Alva will see that, and that might amend his decisions and his movements as Gomez or Diaz will crack open the barrel down below and give themselves an entry avenue inside the basement. A very probing assault from M80 so far.
And now we get into that drone phase that we expect. You can see Diaz and Gomez droning now to try to identify, as is iconic. Doki getting put under a little bit of pressure, but thankfully another Kiba in the back pocket to keep that window locked down and keep focusing on this fight from the side. Using a couple more of those X-Kairos pellets to once more remove the Kiba barrier, but it's a better structured defense this time around from G2. You've already eaten up a minute, and Spoit is going to find the opener onto Alama, who got a little bit greedy peeking that Astro door.
This is where M80 can use a series of momentum and early picks to begin the cascade and put the pressure on G2. The world champions are not invulnerable, and if you keep them on the back foot long enough, you can find success. Doki on the red stairs, tantalizing close to the opposition just below him. That will be Gomez. A game of nerves. The barbed wire protects Doki's position for just a little bit longer, but if he dares to rotate down below, he'll find himself in the Dragon's Den.
And there's the drone work again. Benja can't quite swing that pillar as safely as he normally would with that hatch being open, but you can see now Lion getting ready to go on that rappel. There's the scan now, which will enable Kino and Spoit to step further up, but Doki still on red stairs. Footsteps will come, but the trade is there. Spoit able to take that one back. 3 versus 4, but Virtue has this one-way angle. Gomez now with 2 nades in the back pocket as well will try to cook something up, but when he sends that charge from below, Benja is not in position to receive delivery. 40 seconds left, 4 versus 3, and M80 just looking to start to crack sight.
M80 need the next pick to go in their favor, and this round should be a guarantee. Benja has vaulted on the pool table to keep himself in play, but Gemini, a shield on main stairs could be a massive pressure point for M80 to break down. Gomez has 1 nade remaining, so they can clear it. And the Spoit's got no ash charges left either, but Diaz gets Virtue. Virtue's been so key for this team, forcing a trade, but Gemini finds it. 3-2 advantage M80. Benja misses some critical shots and goes DBNO, leaving it all down to Gemini, the newest addition to this team. Sensation from Italy. What can he do? Nothing. Diaz shuts it down. M80 now lead.
Well, the Italian stallion was stabled in that round inside of Story as Diaz was able to get it. But again, attacking this site in particular, M80 looks so strong in this round. They're able to identify those 1v1s. And even that kill that Doki got on the stairs, you had a player swinging from Wolf to trade it back. And not only that, I think they still had, was it Iconic playing below as well? So either way, Doki was not coming out of that one with a net positive. And M80 take the lead. But again, we said they're good on attack in this map. They've got a 50-50 record all the way through this year so far. So a 3-3 half would be pretty much bang on what we would expect from M80. If they can win this round, though, and take a 4-2 lead, that 69% defensive win rate from G2 will have been cracked. Yeah, exactly. And then on defense, or on attack, can G2 find 4 rounds of their own?
I think so. Listen, I'm not going to waver. I placed a 2-0 victory for G2 as my prediction. I will firm it. I will not change. I will not waver. EU team needs to step up, and the best way to do that is draw themselves a level in this.
Bias caster, shaking my head. Shaking my head.
My SMH in my head, Gibby. Yes. What? EU caster cheering? Oh, no, it's simply because Benj is on the Irish Opera. That's why I'm cheering for G2.
Do I need to take your sunlight privileges away for another day or two? Like, is that where we're going with this?
I feel attacked with that one, Gibby. Speaking of attack, M80 on that now. Can they get themselves in the lead or even further in the lead and get a 4-2 split here on Villa? Virtue can signal to his team exactly where that pressure's arriving from, and I think this is going to be a pretty routine push. The Bravo drone sent in, and that's not going to draw any fire. What's looking perhaps for anyone to overextend and peek too wide, as nades to work with clear Virtue if wanted. And the EMP goes out as well.
Yeah, the early phase of this round, the first minute, is a lot more horizontal on this site. Again, you look at Virtue and the impact he can have with the pulse. Setup-wise, they've already opened up that wall, which gives them the line of sight into kitchen from the window, and Kino moves up to the top floor. Again, Gomez going for a different avenue of entry this time around. Last time he tried to push in from Study, and he was shut down by Doki. Good. I thought for a second we were going to see a Yardy from Spout, which would be something that would make me really happy. But instead, he's going to move towards Trophy Window. But again, you look at the operators that are being used by M80, a lot of emphasis being put now on establishing vertical control and moving those roamers away.
This is what M80 need to do. Find that pressure. It's all well and good having a great drone game. If you don't capitalize on it, you can really feel that pinch. Bravo and play. In the hands of Iconic. Can go around and clear his default cameras, but Benja's in a very immediate set of danger. Boss the edge of the barrel of the Jackal. Fragments of that Thorn give away his position. And that drone spots out Benja. That lurk, that stealthy play is now gone, but they don't seem to be too worried about it. Virtue will look to put pressure on as the verticality's opened up. The ceiling above his head chewed through and opened. That will become a very uncomfortable position to hold, and looks like it's going to be Gomez looking for a backstab from Secret.
Well, but Gemini, Virtue, and Alamo have all wasted their C4s. Not a single kill, not a single bit of damage done. So now you really have no counter to the vertical. But Spoit tried to sneak his way into Kitchen, and Alamo was able to get that kill from inside of Mud. Doki takes down Kino, but Gomez through the smoke is able to find Gemini. Doki pulls one back. It's a 4 versus 2 now, and there's Diaz to give us a 3v2. Last round on attack, but there's another kill coming through as Virtue picks it up. Diaz, 5 HP, gives away his position on the drop. But sitting on 90 now, getting ready to push. Spots out the head, but Alamo wins the round. It's a 3-3 half.
This is what you love to see. Some of the best teams in the world, and they can't find a distance between them on the defense or on the opening half here on Villa. G2 will now move to the offense, and this, well, this is where it's interesting. I would favor G2 on the defense. They had that 69% win ratio coming into this matchup. Certainly has shifted away now. Can they find momentum and get this job done? And no surprise at all. Alamo on the Lion and Benja on an upper that brings Nick. They're not going to get full utilization of that, but it's a very key thing that they do on this map. They use the Lion, basically give Benja key information for those nades below. Not a factor here. We're going to be on the Kitchen for the very first sight, but keep your eye for that when we move up to AVG or Trophy.
But Ruben, there's a time now to ask you a very important question.
Okay.
Why Spoit is playing Capcan? Who's the victim?
Oh, you're letting me cook. Who is gonna be? Oh, right. Let me ponder upon this for a moment, Gibson. So you're saying one member of G2 will stumble in to a Capcan trap?
Of course, it's G2.
I'm gonna give a 50-50 pick between two people here. Either Doki or Alamo. They will be the two to walk into it. That's my prediction.
Walking through one Capcan trap's a buff for Doki, though. He walks through that trap and activates them. It's still, when there's 2 of them on the door, though, that's when there is a problem. Attacking lineup, though, we spoke about the fact that G2 are very fluid with their operator picks. Normally, you would see Doki as the entry, but Gemini and Benja have taken Iana and Ash. So Gemini taking up a very different role than what you would have seen Blur doing in this exact same position. So G2 have went very entry heavy with this lineup. Twitch, Iana, and you've got Ash in play. You've got Lion to enable the push. And then IQ to just spot out Capcan traps, to spot out anything that could slow down their momentum. In particular, you know, if you get your timing right, IQ could even spot out where Kino was playing with that pulse from below. But a minute into the round, and the drone game has begun. Iconic hits that drone, and he's lucky that he wasn't traded by the player on the window.
He already finds the headshot as well. Gemini will use that Lion scan as cover to get on in down below and trying to cut him off, but Iconic crosses back upstairs. The phone's going to be able to relay lots of information. And G2, it's not the pace I would have wanted from them. Things a little bit slow, not the speed they would have wanted, as Gemini walks inside a piano and begins to think about putting pressure on bottom of that red stairs. Doki finds the opening, and that's the Capcan gone and cleared from red stairs, and no retreat is going to be shut down. Benja claims the soul of Gomez. 5-3 early advantage of the offense. Minute 20 remains. An Iconic tasked with getting one back, and he does.
Big kill. That's 90, still held by M80. Doki, though, has already gone down that bottom floor. Looks like he's creeping up through the basement to try have an impact now. Diaz is able to shut down Gemini. Kino gets one on to Virtue, and suddenly M80 have the advantage again, but Alamau going through the fire flames and the shots is able to dodge it, but he's all by himself now. 1 versus 3, stuck inside of China. Creeps his way in, but he gets taken down by Kino, and M80 take the lead once more.
Right, bounce back, iconic of the huge and a very important fight to win on 90 to keep that control. And that final last gasp execution by G2 as he tried to flood the site fell just a little bit flat. Trophy, statuary, the site of choice. And I have a feeling, I'm not too surprised that AVG is going to be the last pick from M80. They know how effective G2 are using the up nades, that verticality in reverse, especially on AVG. So they're going to make it a little bit more difficult. Trophy, statue, less opportunities. There are still opportunities for that to work, just less so, more difficult to make it work.
And this is the first time we're going to see Trophy Statue, as G2 completely avoided that site whenever they were on the defensive half. Again, for M80 now, defense has maybe been not as good as attack for them on this map historically, but this is where they need to hold it out. Provided they win this round and they get that 2-round advantage, you feel like from that point on, they will go ahead and take this tie. But as long as G2 can stay within 1 round, it's going to have overtime written all over it. Here's the question people ask all the time, Whippet. Do you reinforce that wall that looks from Wolf towards Bookshelf and Statue? Reinforcing it has grown on me lately, and that looks like that's what G2
who in ranks has told you off for not reinforcing it then?
Oh, Fresh, Pengu, Union Jack, you, my mum, my dad, everybody.
I think that answers my statement then. I like how it reinforces you're safe when you're playing inside Statue. Alamau on the Blackbeard. You know, normally a Blackbeard's reserved to someone who's not having a good game. Alamau's had a good impact so far. So he decided to don the bulletproof shield and be a little bit of a nuisance on that Astro window. An extension in the master bedroom will prove a little bit more difficult to break down by G2. That's a little bit uncertain of where this pressure is going to arrive from. Expect someone to take the initiative and get aggressive and jump in that bathroom window to begin directly fighting anyone inside of Astro.
Yeah, and the big thing is the DMR being brought as well. We spoke in the past about how big of an impact on land the DMR has whenever there's virtually no latency whatsoever, and it can really be the king. Now, Benja has crept his way towards 90, and he'll hear the footsteps coming his way as Kino plays on Astro stairs. Benja will do right to just pause and wait for Kino to make the first error. Kino pretty much trapped in place now. Alamau's got the window, Benja's got the cross below. This is a good little hold that G2 have, but at some point you got to move from holding to actually pushing and trying to get that first kill. The rest of G2 pretty much paused in place over by master bedroom side. And I like Flores' pick here, but Spoit gets the opener onto Virtue, and down goes your Thatcher. But Benja uses that as the time to make his push.
Oh, the Thorn's going to make him a little bit unsettled as he gets himself an onion. He can use those nades below the beat and find that pressure. Spoit, he's attracting so much attention. The detonations at his feet and finally left in DBNO. Doki nearly finds himself traded but gets that confirmation. Advantage G2, 4-3 in terms of player count. 60 seconds. Gemini's already inside of Astro. He's going to be such a problem, but Doki doesn't care. And it finds Gomez. Iconic before taking retake from Astro, but Benja looks away just at the wrong moment. Inviting pressure, but doesn't matter. A false invitation only to the grave as Benja finds 2. And G2 bring us level once again. Ibby, it tempted faith a little bit. And you said a dreaded word for many players. You said overtime. You said it might be on the cards for this one. I'm beginning to believe you because these teams, wow, this is a championship matchup that we would have wanted in a major ago, but now they go head-to-head in the very first game of this, and they're showing why they are the heavyweights of their region. Absolutely fantastic so far. Blow for blow, action all around. Who can find daylight between their opponents?
Well, if anybody thought that a game that had Benja and Spoited was not going to be a brilliant one that goes to overtime, I think they're pretty much deluded. This is a game that has it written all over. So far, the battle for King of the North has been a fun one so far. Benja 6-5, Spoit going 8-5. But I will say this, Doki has come to life in the last few rounds as well. He's going 7-4. He's gone on the Ash. And a reminder, look at how fluid these lineups from G2 are. They don't have defined roles once more. And this time, Alamau, who went from Blackbeard in the last round, has switched it over, and he's going to be playing Amaru.
I'm very intrigued to what they are cooking in the G2 kitchen this time around. What recipe has Fabian put down in the scrapbook, and can they execute on it perfectly? The real question for both these teams is this early stage, that early pressure for them, if they can get control. The opening picks have often come a little bit later in these rounds. Now, it's a symptom of Villa. It's a difficult map to drone. It's very difficult to get that map control. There's so many avenues. But this is what Alamau's cooking. He's going to go straight in, zombie window, and put pressure on the Spoit. And he goes. The SMG-11's out with Spoit aware. No caught reloading. He was able to find two before he gets quelled. An advantage sits with M80. What a key and critical trade. But look at this. Iconics on the hunt down below. And will that C4 connect? No, not even close. Ace is cold and in the sight of Kino as well. G2, as much as that was exciting to see the Amaru play work, have put themselves in a difficult position to claw back from.
Yeah, 3 versus 4 now, and Alama with the diffuser in his back pocket as well will play on top of top main. Benja has arrived as they begin to try to use that little bit of verticality that was created by the C4s to look back the other way. But still, Kino takes a chunk of damage, and he's lucky to be able to dip away into cover as Virtue will hold the bathroom window. And the big question is now, it's a 3 versus 4, and as the attacking side, you need to isolate one of these defenders. Kino and Diaz, they're playing in tandem. They're playing off each other's contact. So you have to look to the other side of the map as an Iconic and Gomez as being maybe where you can find some joy. And Kino is going to get taken down as he's got from above. And Diaz will try to force the red, but this will be a tricky one with Benja holding the angle, and he confirms out that kill.
Benja looks for a second one. Iconic the distance, finds one on the Virtue in 90, and that's going to start ringing alarm bells for Benja, knowing he's going to get hunted, peeked by one angle from Vault door. But Iconic still on the hunt upstairs. Gomez escapes, and Iconic finds a second one on Alamau, leaving Benja all alone against 3. A Pulse can relay exactly where he is, but he finds the head of Diaz. 2 more to find. 50 seconds. This is certainly doable. Has Utility left to crack open more of this control, but a goo mine in his ankle only telegraphs his positioning, his intentions just a little bit more. This is winnable. This is doable. He has to take the initiative, and he drops aggressively in the site. Do they have any idea? Iconic doesn't seem to know. He creeps on in. This could be huge if Amity doesn't realize, but now they're going to know. He gave away his position with a single shot. He needs to read into this. Collects the case. 25 seconds, Gibby. It's going to be Iconic. Shuts it down. Amity find the lead once again on the defense of Villa.
Yeah, they just played. They held their cross. They were able to get the kill. I actually liked Benja shooting that clone. He did it on purpose to try bait someone to swing him. That was the plan there. Use the clone, give away his position to try to force a defender to swing. M80 didn't fall for the bait. They waited until they heard the sprint, turn around, get the kill. They take a 5-4 lead. AVG now, the site that we're going to go to, which G2 will have to win to bring the sides level again at 5 rounds apiece. But this has been a much better game than some people thought it was going to be. Everybody had G2 as the heavy favorites, but M80 showing the talent that they have and showing their ability to play as a team. And this is what we spoke about in the pre-show. Can M80 have an impact from all of their big names? Spoit's got 10, Diaz has 8, Iconic has 5, Kino has 4. Everybody is having an influence in this game for M80, and that's what you need to do to counter the way G2 play.
10 seconds to insertion.
The thing that gets me, Gibby, in this matchup, right? I was so confident that it was going to be, G2. The map bans went in their favor. They won the ban phase. Now all of a sudden, it looks a little bit different. Gomez with a thorn trap outside. I'm really actually a big fan of that. What that's going to do is basically, if you don't shoot it, it means you're going to be out of position. And if someone, I don't know, wants to play inside of Study, no matter how dangerous that is, you're almost going to get yourself a freebie. No one's in position to deal with it, but that could be, keep your eye on that one. We'll see a lot of Thorn in this competition, so watch for some creative Thorn traps. See how they're going to get utilized by all the best players in the world at this event, of course. How will G2 break down this defense held by Amity?
It's a horrible lineup to play against. The new Thorn, you've got Fenrir in the mix, and you've got Azami being played by Spoit. It's making finding engagements really difficult. Now, I like the Flores pick again. Gemini will be able to use those Roteros to open up that soft wall. It gives you a full line of sight in towards Vault without relying on those head holes. Elsewhere, you've got Benja playing below. He has the nades. He's able to maybe pick someone up again, you look at the way that M80 are playing. They might be on 2 floors, but they're all playing very close together. They've locked in on defending this side of the map. They're giving G2 everything else for free.
Nade from Benja. Not money. Doesn't connect. Doesn't find any damage. And a throw without information. Assumption that someone will be on that wall. A good prediction, good read if it landed. Doki will begin to clear away the keeper barriers on that map, but no, my disc pulls it away. So that utility persists. It stays. It could have been replaced even if it was removed. And more of a headache for G2. More intricate parts of this puzzle they need to begin to solve. Utility really beginning to run out for G2. You see that they've used all their nades. They've burnt through 2 of their flashbangs. They still have 3 breaching charges to work with, but is that really going to help them break this down? Probably not. You might need to rely on the bullets in those magazines and the weapons they hold. They have to try and get some pressure. Terror drone goes in, detonates inside a study. Gemini deploys and pokes and pokes. But Doki, he just wandered straight in the sight, but not for long. Gomez with a new 1.5 finds that head, and Doki falls. But G2 might see that as an opportunity to begin to flood the site.
Virtue can plant. You look at the utility that's in position. You know, there's not very much there that can be used to stop it, but Gomez is able to get a kill, and that's a big one because the cover's not there. Swing around with the machine pistol, but he's unable to find the kill. Virtue took a beating. He is taken down by Gomez. Diaz has the cross. It's a 3v1. Gemini is completely locked out of sights, playing on study balcony, and M80 looked like they're about to take a 6-4 lead. But the problem is, you had the cross, you had the player in position to go for the plant, but they peeked. G2 did not have to peek the player on study.
I'm actually gonna play to the defense of G2 in this one. Alamau needed to rotate all the way around to that study door or to that map store to be an effective cover. Because you can have someone on the head holes playing a study, even that if he swings that CZ75 as aggressively like that, it's a difficult shot to land. So you want someone a little bit closer to be able to do it. And a timeout's being called by G2. They're going to try and correct mistakes now because the all-important factor is M80 are on map point here on Villa. G2 do not want to lose Villa as it is higher in their map preference than it is for M80. And so if M80 can take away this map, that's a huge advantage for them. But can G2 begin to claw some back? Or if M80 found that stride, that momentum that perhaps we said they needed in that pre-show?
And you can see that Fabian talking to the team, everybody looks locked in concentration on what the plan has got to be. Reminder, if you are new to CG Sports, when a timeout is called, that allows both coaches to talk to their team. And looking at M80 right now, they look so calm. They look so cool and collected. They look like a team that want to get this one and get it won now. The onus is on G2. They're on attack. They've got a 2-round deficit. All M80 need to do is win 1 defensive round, and they take the first map in this best of 3 series.
Blessing and a curse. You're 1 round away from locking in Villa, leading the series, and having that huge momentum. There is that little bit that sits at the back of most players' minds going, well, it is just 1 more round. And I like to call that the 1 more round mentality. It can be a trapping for many players. Many teams have fallen to it. We think about last year at this event. Team Liquid versus SSG. SSG were leading 5-1 against Liquid. Got themselves in a very similar position. They had such a buffer, they thought they could do it. Liquid clawed it back. G2 don't have a mountain to climb. Just need to get themselves back on their feet and get this one into a dangerous position, but they need to win. This attack trophy statue is decided. M80 lock out Villa right here, right now. Or we have a little bit more room to fight on this map.
Well, as a caster, I always want more. You know me. If it was the other way around and G2 were 6-4 up, I'd be calling for M80 to claw this one back. But can the team from NA clutch out this first map? Diaz is going to go hide inside the tub. And again, this is something that players need to drone and be careful for. Virtue sets up the claymores to prevent anybody from getting hyper-aggressive and deciding to vault on out. And you know, this is good because the mute jammers in place as well should keep Diaz's position completely a secret until he needs to move. And there's the opening pick. Gomez is going to find Doki, and that could be huge. You've lost your Scottish magician. Down goes Doki, and now the advantage is really in M80's hands.
That's the massive amount of firepower. That almost the tip of the spear of G2's been dulled significantly. No more Doki, no more nades available either. And those are the only set of nades brought out by the side of G2. M80 in a great position to coast out this round now. Don't overextend, play your trades. An aggressive push, but he's gonna get punished. Gemini gets aggressive, but Diaz hidden in the bathtub. Gets one, baits out the shots from Alamau, but Virtue will claim him with the AK-12. 3-3. A chaotic moments there for both these sides, but it leaves us in a 3-3 neutral ground between these sides. G2, what answer do you have? All the pressure is on your back, M80. They don't need to do anything, and the Fenrir mine will be a little bit of a deterrent as Benja now fears for a flank of bottom Astro.
Yeah, so Alma will hold if they try to take Astro through the rotate. That'll allow Benja now to step up and try to find his one as he looks towards the deer. Iconic gets one. That Kiba barrier timing saved Iconic's life as it just bloomed at the right time. Benja can't quite step in through that rotate just yet as well. They're trying to create a funnel, a kill box for G2 to step in through. Kino is hidden in position and Benja will force the swing with the stun. Iconic gets one, but Benja trades it back and Spite wins. M80 take map 1, and that is a big statement from the team from NA as they take G2 on Villa, and look at the relief on their faces.
It's not expressions of jubilation or joy, it's relief. Map 1 done, but remember, job isn't done. My prediction might be wrong, but G2 can very much bounce back as we move to Cafe for the second map, but M80, what a recovery story for them. It was a kind of a